And we're live.
Woo!
All right. So we just watched the end of a nice White Sox winner.
White Sox
So
winner.
if everyone's enjoying
Sure
that. Got a little baseball, beer, and bullshit going.
Yeah, brand new koozies available in the store probably Monday. But if you come to our Sunday watch party, Buffalo Wings and Rings, we will be giving some of those away. They fucked up, sent us an extra 25, so we will give those away. We'll give some of them away.
Those are free.
Sounds good to
those
me.
Are free.
The rest of them are $22 each.
Yes.
So just make sure to save your nickels and dimes, and you can give us your
spare a square on those ones.
We do take Bitcoin, so
and
little-
Dogecoin.
One bit.
So for
Dogecoin.
Still fucking with me.
for our post game this week, I had a question I wanted to give to the group. It is, if you could wipe your brain of a movie and rewatch it for the first time, what would that movie be? So I'll let Beefloaf go first because I think he had a strong opinion. He thought of it and he had it. He's all in on it.
I did. I read this immediately, and I thought for a second. I said, "Well, okay, so the thesis of this is something that would ruin your experience by you can't watch the movie a second time and get the same thrill out of it or excitement or enjoyment out of it because details of the movie have already been revealed to you, and you sort of don't get that initial thrust of that thing, initial enjoyment of that. And for me, a movie popped into my head immediately, and that movie stars Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey. And it is called Seven.
Yeah,
that's good.
And I'll be honest with you, when you rewatch it, it's just not the same.
What's in the box?
Yeah, the initial time watching it, the suspense, it's terrifying, but then it's weird and has these interesting parts to like how the villain works and these guys trying to figure it all out and eventually sort of doing so. Like you lose everything on the second watch. Like it's a bad second watch of a movie in my opinion.
Even when he turns himself in, you're like, what's the angle?
What's happening here?
Like they
This is not.
They didn't have a chance at catching this guy. Why is he turning himself in? Like what is going on? Like it's so confusing and so interesting and so frightening.
Yes.
Like it's all of those things, and to not have that in the second viewing just kind of takes a lot of the piss out of it. You know? It's kind of like you're like, okay, well, I know what happens now, and now I'm just watching it for the gore and like the what's in the box part. Like, but but
you really want to know what was in the box.
Oh man,
the first time you watch it because you don't really know what the fuck's in the box.
You didn't want to believe it. You had an idea.
Because they had an idea, but you were like, it's the type of movie that is great on the initial watch, and I don't want to see it again. Kind of like I don't really need to see it more than one time. And that's sort of what I thought was the essence, at least for me, of this question.
Yeah. So I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it in a completely shitty way. Because I should have looked at it that way. Because there's movies you can go through. But then I was thinking, so I'm thinking here, like, how can I cover my tracks, right? Like, how can I say that I did the homework assignment, but I didn't? I was going to say, like, Silence of the Lambs. Because, like, you don't know what happens.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And then you find out. But that still is fucking just as good when you watch it the second time as it was the first time. Because it wasn't, but
it's a thriller, right?
There is a thrill.
You're never like... You can never relive the suspense of that like basement scene.
Yeah, right.
If you know how it ends.
Yeah,
right. Because you don't know who the fuck's going to live in that movie. Like it's not obvious that everyone's going to make it out of there alive.
No, I think it's a great call actually. And when I brought this question up to Mrs. Beefloaf, that was the movie she brought.
Is that what she picked?
She said Silence of the Lambs would be the type of movie where you can't get that thrillingness back. Into what ends up happening.
I always try to, and it goes along the same, like your same thing here. Try to remember songs before they became hits.
Yeah,
exactly. Because like there'll be like a song that breaks on a record that you had like back in the day or whatever, and you'd be like, I know I've heard that song 15 times, and now that it's popular, like I don't remember what it sounded like before I heard it like on the radio as a popular song. So then that always fucks with my head. It's like, man, I know I've listened to that, but like now I feel like I've heard it the first time again because now it's all over fucking radio.
Right.
So what was your?
So to your point, like some movies are still awesome after that. So like I obviously like knowing that, like finding out like Vader's Luke's father is like, you know, you could. That's top of the list, but like I could rewatch that movie 1,000 times, and it's still always a good scene, right?
What's interesting about you bringing up that movie, Treasy, is that there are movies where something gets revealed to you that's not essential enough to the rest of the entertainment package. It's great, but it's still not where you can rewatch it. You're like, okay, right. I do know that part, but this other shit is really entertaining and I can keep with it.
Right.
Seven for me was the type of movie where it breaks down quickly when I know the result.
Right.
You know?
And so the movie that I have that is the number one. I think this is actually probably, once I say it, most people will be like, yeah, this is the movie that like the second time through is totally a different watch. Is Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Like when you're sitting, like, because I still remember the first time I watched it, and like as Chaz Palminteri is like starting to realize what's going on, is when you're starting to realize what's going on. So like they did such a great job of the realization coinciding with his characters, right? Because in a lot of movies, you're like, oh, why can't they figure this out? You know, like in this movie, you had fucking no clue, just like Chaz didn't. And then like at the same time, you're figuring it out, and you're just like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. And like his, you know, like because they're doing it the way they're doing it is he's like starting to see all the things, starting to look at the bottom of the cup and the, you know, who Redfoot really is and all this stuff. And at the same time, they're starting to show Kevin Spacey's leg kind of straighten out.
Yeah.
Like him get into his normal walk. He's like undoing his hand and like everything's like starting to come together all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And that movie, like, I can never experience that again. And that's like, it's almost sad. Like you don't get to experience that moment of like, holy shit, are you kidding me? And that's why I have to pick Usual Suspects. Like that is just the best one for me. Like knowing who Kaiser Soze is incredible.
You're right about that last scene because if you put yourself, I sort of sometimes like to put myself in the character spot, and Chaz Palminteri knows how fucked he is. Like, how bad he fucked up, but he's starting to realize it's unveiling. I love those scenes in movies where someone does a bunch of actions and then starts revealing to them that like, oh no, I really fucked up and I'm in big trouble here. And that's what he starts realizing as he starts unveiling these clues very quickly and like, oh no, like he was right there. I had him. Like
It also goes from like you're watching this movie where you're like, man, this is a really good story, to you realize this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. It changes for you in that moment, right? Like up until that point, you're watching the movie and the story's pretty good. It's a heist movie, right? And it's and then like the big twist is that the heist is not for like drugs; it's for a person, and they were just going there to assassinate the guy, right? So you're like, oh, well, that's the twist. Wow, I got taken for a ride there. That was pretty good. And then you're like, oh, wait.
Something more.
That fucking guy is the mastermind behind it all. What the fuck? My mind's blown.
Yeah.
So I have to go with that one. That's my.
What would be a movie that you would say that you would want to watch again just for the pure enjoyment of watching the movie versus like, because like, you know, when you first see a movie, you're like, oh, this is fucking great. You know, and then the second time you see it, it's like, it's still great, but like
I still like
watching
Usual Suspects, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm like to the point of like, I know what's going to happen, but it's still like a very interesting movie, very well written, very. The one movie that like, and the opposite end of like, what a twist at the end, but like I don't care to watch it ever again is The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Right, like. The whole thing is the twist. The rest of the movie is not like
it's not that good, right?
Like, you're not like enthralled by the story of it. You're just kind of like, what's this weird shit that's happening? And then you're like, oh,
that's why
Bruce Willis is dead.
Yeah, that's why I shouldn't want to talk to him during their dinner.
Yeah, and then you watch it again, and you're just like, oh, can we get to the Bruce Willis is not dead part? Because this is kind of boring.
now I no longer care. I thought you were going in the opposite direction. I thought you were saying a movie that's totally watchable like a million times.
That's kind of what it was, but like
that's what I let off with.
So like
the Star Wars saga to me,
it's totally watchable.
There's a lot of twists in that, and like you like, yeah, obviously finding out that Luke is Vader's son, or that Vader gets up and throws the Emperor in the fucking hole. Like those are all like great. Like, oh man, like I wish I could see that again. But I enjoy them every single time I watch them. Yeah. So like it's not like it loses anything for me.
See, like a movie for me, like is like The Hangover. Like I liked it the first time I saw it, and then I liked it the 72 times I watched it.
Yeah. Even though he's on the road, you're just still like, this is still awesome.
This is all great. Like even because you kept finding these new jokes,
anything with great dialogue tends to last a lot longer for you. It tends to be something like Pulp Fiction is still great because there's great scenes, there's great dialogue and everything. Even though the movie's packaged in a weird way. Like the first time you saw it, you're like, oh shit, I didn't know that's how that was all going. But afterwards, you're like, but I still appreciate this because I like this scene or these groups of scenes or this dialogue or I like these characters interacting together. And, so movies like that can hold up forever.
What's a good one is Clerks. Clerks is like one of those ones that I like continually over my lifetime. If I go back and watch it, I usually notice something new because it's just like I've got more information on things in general.
Sure.
Right? And especially because like comic book heroes have become such a big thing. And fucking Kevin Smith intertwines that into all of his shit. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but like in the Captain Marvel movie, they have one of Stan Lee's final scenes in movies.
Yeah,
is because it's the Captain Marvel's set back in the 90s.
Okay,
it's him on a bus or a train, I forget, reading the lines for Mallrats. Like you'd see the Mallrats script out, which was a fucking awesome throwback to that. And if you haven't seen Captain Marvel by now, fuck you. You don't get a spoiler alert on that. But like,
we should have given spoiler alert in the podcast when we were going back for the pop songs.
Yeah.
What about fun?
Those movies, I always pick like a new thing out, like every time I watch it that I just didn't notice before. Like Kevin Smith had a lot of that. He had a lot of these like underlying little
inside jokes and stuff. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, a movie like that for me was Rounders. Because when I watched Rounders, I had no gambling experience background. And then over time, I gained a bunch of it. And then I would go back and watch Rounders, and I'd pick up all these little language things, little things that I know of later. Because, like you're saying, you gain experience, and you're like, oh, okay, shit, yeah. I didn't know what that meant before, and it just sort of passed for me. Now I sort of get what the hell he's talking about in that spot. So it's interesting, like, as you grow older, to go back and watch stuff and say, oh, shit, yeah, now I understand.
Yeah, and if you've never played poker, you don't really get the Johnny Chansey.
No, you don't.
What a good play that was, and like how ballsy that shit.
Right, exactly.
No, I was afraid to name some movies too because I was like, I don't want to lose what I had with that movie. And one of the first movies that came to mind like was Swingers because like I feel like Swingers is probably really dated and it made a lot more sense in '96 than it would in like 2019. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. It's still.
But we were looking at it from seeing it in the '90s versus,
and we were the right age to be watching it too. Like it was for us.
I swear to God.
Like I mean, like
they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this graphic on these night hockey '94? What the fuck is it?
I think the other thing too is like just the how you meet people.
Yeah, like social interaction.
Right. I mean, like that. That's how it was. You would go to a party or you would go to a bar and meet people. You wouldn't just look on your phone and like swipe till you find someone that.
He likes me, so then I feel more safe to go talk to him.
Right.
Or her. Yeah.
Yeah, like so that
I didn't know that.
Someone was probably more overweight than they're letting on.
That didn't exist.
I love getting shut down face to face.
Ugly
dudes
so much
more fun than it would be over.
It's an adventure, right?
Yeah.
Ugly dudes like us had to gauge in real time.
What's our level here? Like I don't know.
Where's your was in or out of our league?
Is she drunk enough you have to talk to me?
There's a lot of weighing those options there.
Yep.
Well, the swingers thing too. I don't know if you guys ever heard this, but Vince Vaughn was on Tim Ferriss's podcast a while ago.
Yeah.
God, it was a couple years ago.
Who's Ferriss?
Tim Ferriss.
Oh, I don't know that.
And interviewed him, and Vince Vaughn said that when they finally were getting that script landed and they were going to be able to make the movie, the people that were funding initially wanted them to change that whole music scene to like grunge rock. And they're like, no, that's not the scene that we're in right now. But because that music was popular, so he and Jon Favreau held tight on that shit and said, no, we're not changing it. And thank God they didn't, because that fits so beautifully. Like, it would have been dumb otherwise. Singles
already did that. Like, that would have been a terrible. Like, you would have been like, whatever.
No, another Alice in Chains. Some guy's trying to fuck.
And then I feel like that type of music just like took off. Like all that swing shit just took off because of that movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I would have never listened to any of it, to be totally honest.
Plus, it fit more.
I never did listen to it, even except for the movie.
Because LA wasn't doing grunge.
Right, that's what they were trying to say.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
this is where we're actually living. This is what we're actually doing.
They had Stone Temple Pilots, and that was it. That was it.
And they're barely grunge.
Right.
Fucking posers. Sorry, Ram. Even though he'll never watch this.
I love STP. All right, well, I think that's about it.
Probably the longest one we've done.
It's about 15 minutes or something. The podcast is up. Go listen to it.
Check it out, baby.
Enjoy that White Sox
See
winner.
you Sunday, bitches.
We'll see you guys Sunday at Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Peace.
Cheers.